At ease. It's your boy Soul Immortal. I appreciate y'all taking out a few moments of your day today. I know it's Monday. I know everybody's on the grind. Everybody's has prepped for the week. And I just appreciate y'all chiming in for a minute to talk about what I feel like is a very important topic, right? Now I'll say this starting off. You know, this is one of the many things, and let me know if y'all can't hear me. Now y'all know it's been a minute since I went live. This is one of the many things that I've wanted to talk about for some while. You know, this amongst a large number of a lot of things, right? And this is just one of those topics that I usually have in very small circles, right? But I'll be honest. You know, with the world doing what it is, you know, with us going through the stages that we're going through, with us going through the phase that we're actually, in my opinion, in the process of coming out of, I think it's very important for us to start talking about these real issues. And I'll be honest, this, you know, like when I made the post this morning on my Instagram, you know, a couple of brothers came on and said, you know, this is blasphemy. You know, this is crazy. What are you even talking about? And that's to be expected. That's actually biblical. You know, when certain truths started being spoken, there were a lot of people that were saying, hey, hold up, man. Like now that's not cool. Like that's like, what are you talking about, man? So it was expected, man. But again, you know, like I told those brothers, you know, it's just time for, you know, for us to start talking about different things, man. Just based on what this world is doing, man. Appreciate that Flex AM. Brother, you always the first to post, man. I appreciate you hitting that bell and always supporting, brother. I appreciate that. You know, so starting off, man, I want to talk about, I really just want to give a quick, before we dive in, I really just want to give a quick outline of myself, right? Because for me to start talking about what I'm getting ready to talk about, it's important that you understand, you know, my upbringing, understand where I come from, understand how I came to this conclusion, right? So let me just start off saying, you know, first off, I was the son of a preacher, right? Grew up in the church as long as I can remember. I've always been in the church. Never had any problems with the church. I was a Christian growing up. I was on the usher board. I sung in the children's choir, all that stuff. And even after my father died, who was a preacher, even after my father died, and you know, I was old enough to get my driver's license, and I was kind of coming and going as I pleased, I was still going to church on my own. 16 years old, getting up in the morning, getting dressed up Sunday morning by myself, going to church, Bible in hand, and I was a student of the game, man, because I've always craved knowledge, right? Fast forwarded, you know, I joined the military. I'm around 21, 22. You know, I'm still active in church, and I joined this church in Oklahoma, and this would be the very beginning, man, of my life changing, right? Because one thing I always knew is, you know, even when I was, you know, young in church, I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. This is what I always thought. I said, you know what? I don't know what truth is. I said, but all I know is this is not the truest version of it. I said, I don't know what it is, but this is really not it. I said, so I'm just gonna keep diving into this stuff, man, until I can grab hold of it. And I didn't know that would happen when I moved to Oklahoma, right? So long story short, I joined this church in Oklahoma. Here I am, 23 years old, maybe 24 years old. I was a brother that was just sitting in the back of the church, you know, me and my wife at the time, man. I wasn't trying to be active. I was just all about that knowledge. I just wanted that knowledge, bro. And the brother asked me, "Hey, man, can you be an usher for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll put my work in, right?" And after that, man, I guess he saw how I was, you know, greeting the people and just showing love. He said, "Hey," he said, "brother, why don't you teach a Sunday school class for us?" And I'm like, "Oh, brother, like that ain't my lane." Like, you know, and he just kept going on for weeks. And I finally said, "You know what? I'll do it. Here I am, 24 years old. Most of the people in the class were 30, 35 and older. So I'm sitting there speaking to almost, you know, my elders, right? And this is what happened, brother. I took it very seriously. So I began to study this same Bible that I grew up in. My father, pounded down this same Bible. I started reading it, and for the first time at 24 years old, it was almost like I was reading a different book. But because now I'm reading it from a place of trying to get understanding so I can relay the message. And the first thing I noticed was, the stuff that I'm reading is not lining up with the stuff that I heard growing up. Even the stuff I heard my own father teach. I said, the stuff that I'm reading, like what book were they reading, right? And it just threw me for a loop. Now, over the years, long story short, I left that church and it just started my awakening, right? It started me on a journey of just trying to find my truth. It led me to Islam, because in my opinion, at that time, Islam or Muslims rather were following Jesus, were following the Bible more than the Christians that I knew. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, these people are actually following what Jesus was teaching, So I converted to Islam and just continued on my journey of truth. And then that just, in a nutshell, over a couple of years, handful of years, it just led to me finding my own religion. So my religion now it has no name. It only has a frequency. It only has a vibe. But again, it sent me to different truths, right? And one of those truths is what I want to talk about today. And that's about, the return of Jesus. And my response to that whole return of Jesus, brothers, is, Jesus is not coming back. It's because he's already here. Let's talk about it.
First of all, the greatest thing on the planet is the knowledge of self, and basically the knowledge of the universe. For the mere fact that you are even interested in this or remotely interested in this at this particular time when shit is going on crazy out here, it means that you are the special evolved beings. Stop thinking like a human. You got to start thinking as a God. G-O-D, generator, operator, and destroyer. Is it not written in your law that ye are God? John chapter 10, verse 34, 35. But what is the hold up is that the actual gods do not realize they're God.
Now, the first thing is, how do we know that Jesus was even who he said he was, right? Like how do we even know that? So, we always go to the Bible, and I'll pull it up. We talk about the Immaculate Conception, right? Luke 1:31. It says, and now you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus. He shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Highest, right? Now, this is the thing. There are a lot of people, this really is the beginning of where a lot of people that are under the religion, go separate ways. Some people think this was actual fact, right? And some people think this was, just a story to relay some kind of message or relay some kind of energy. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that strikes me that we never talk about, and without going down the wrong path, is as much as the red pill community talks about wife and women with children and all this stuff. It's like nobody brought up brother Joseph. Like was he the first simp? You know what I mean? I mean, here we are. We're assuming this brother then taking a wife that then showed up to just said, hey, you know what? I'm pregnant. And you finna feel these shoes. Nobody in the red pill community is talking about that. Like we want to point out all these guys that are dating women, doing all this stuff, but we don't want to talk about the original simp, if that's what we're talking about. But that's neither here nor there. But you have to understand that a lot of people like this is where the confusion comes in, right? And Neville talked about this. I always talk about Neville. Neville talked about this. Neville said, and this is coming from The Awakening, one of Neville's, The Awakening Imagination, one of Neville's works. Neville said, in the story, he said, if the story of the Immaculate Conception appears irrational to man, it is only because it is misread as biography, as history, and cosmology. What Neville is saying is like the way people perceive this thing, like we're way in left field. Like people have taken this as an actual event. And the thing is, whether it really happened or not, let's say it actually happened. Let's say it didn't happen. It's really irrelevant because it's all about the message that came behind it, right? On down, Neville said this. Neville said, the Son of God is not to be found in history, nor in any external form. He can only be found as imagination of him in whom presence becomes manifest. Again, that's from Neville, Awaken Imagination in 1954. So what did Neville mean? What did Neville mean by that? See, Neville was one of the few people, even a few back in the 50s, in the 60s, when he was doing his thing. Neville was one of the few people that fully understood that this was primarily symbolic. He was saying, in other words, nobody's looking at this the right way. And the fact that we're looking at the wrong way is throwing everybody off. That's how all these crazy stories and crazy versions and expectations have come about. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Brother George. You have to understand, man. Think about this. Think about this. Think about when something comes out, when a message comes out. Think about if people don't understand. Think about if people don't understand and they go a generation talking to other people who don't understand. And they go another generation and another generation telling the same thing to people who don't understand. Think about 2,000 years after the fact. And think about the state of mind we will be in. You know what I'm saying? We really have to understand that the Immaculate Conception, you really have to understand this, brothers, that it represents the transition of every man. It represents the transition of every man. And see, last night, I wish I would have been on that on the in the Power Circle meeting last night. We dove into this hard. And I wish StreamYard had PowerPoint so I could bring a few slides up. But think about this. This is what I mean. This is what I mean when I talk about the whole Immaculate Conception. It's all about the 3 stages of transition, right? Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. It's all about the 3 stages of transition. Think about this. And picture in my mind, since I can't bring a PowerPoint now, picture in your mind this. On my slide, I had a mountain, I had a bridge, and on the other side of that bridge, I had another mountain, right? Now those stages are, the first one is awareness, which is that first mountain. That bridge is the time of separation, or which Neville called the silence. And that third one is the awakening, right? So you have to understand that, like, this is the key. This is the grand scheme of what everybody and everything was talking about. This is it, right? You have to think about us in our daily lives, right? You know, we go through life, and at some point in time, kind of like me in my 20s, at some point in time, we say, you know what? Like I don't know what truth is, but it ain't this. Like I can't put my finger on it, but the stuff that I'm doing, the rituals, the way I'm praying, my ideas of heaven and hell, my salvation, like I don't know what the hell is going on. But this ain't it. That's the awareness. That's when a man comes into awareness, right? That's the first stage, right? And then what happens? He goes into the silence. He goes into separation, where he says, you know what? You know, in order to overcome this, In order to find my truth, I understand that I first have to separate myself from the old version of me. My friends, in some situation, my family members, my church family, my cousins, my co-workers, the brothers I used to go out and shoot pool with on the weekend, the sisters that I used to go eat brunch with on Saturdays and Sundays. Like, I don't know what my truth is, but in order for me to find it, I have to separate myself from that old world. That's the silence. That's the bridge. And I'm telling you, the bridge is where, one thing is, the bridge is where most people get caught up, for one, right? The bridge is where most people get caught up because that's the point where everybody else that's not going to be on this new version of you is going to fall off, right? But the thing is, this is why most people fail here, because they can't release that, right? They can't release that old world. So they just slowly fall back to that state of just being aware instead of being awakened, right? So that third stage, of course, is awaken. And that's when you literally tap in to truth, right? That's when you say, you know what? Oh, you know what? I thought the first 20 plus years, I thought the first 30, the first 40 plus years was my truth, but I had no clue. I had no clue. And I know, to talk about this subject, we have to stick to the Bible very closely. Appreciate that, Brother Kenny. Brother Kenny says, not to bring politics in it. What's up? My parents trying to force to persuade their kids to take vaccine. Yeah. We might get in there here in a second. Appreciate that super chat, brother. I know we have to stay close to the Bible to even have this conversation. I know we do. You can't steer. I can talk about Neville. I can talk about life experiences. But if I don't stick to the Bible, some people won't listen to me. So I get that. So knowing that, let's look at what Brother Paul experienced. Now we all know that Paul went through the same transition. Paul at some point in time, at one time, Paul was the opposition. Paul was ops. You know what I'm saying? And at some point in time, he went on this journey of like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just riding through the desert trying to figure out life. And then boom, and hit him. Let's see what Brother Paul said. In 1 Galatians 15 and 16, Paul said, it pleased God who separated me from my mother's womb, called me by my grace. That's the conception. That's the conception that Neville was saying. Everybody goes through that. That conception represents everybody. You know what I'm saying? Paul said, it pleased God who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by my grace. Boom. To reveal his son in me, that I may preach him, to the heathens. Now, what do you mean, Paul? To reveal what? To reveal his son in you. And then Paul said, immediately I conferred not with flesh nor blood. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Paul was dropping some heat. This was part of a letter that he was writing back to the church, explaining his transition. He's like, I know y'all don't understand what took place with me, but let me show you. Let me tell you what happened. He said, it pleased God when he separated from me from the womb, when I went through my immaculate conception. And he revealed his son in me, that I may preach to him to the heathens. What does that mean? He revealed his son? You mean he revealed Jesus in him? See, what that means is when every man goes through this stage, when every man goes toward this awakened period, it's you have to understand that what a man is learning is that he's learning that the true Christ is simply speaking to his higher self. See, that's where the separation comes in. That's where the separation comes in. When a lot of people, I'm telling you this, when a lot of people hear Christ, they automatically think of something that existed 2,000, a million, whatever years ago, that's outside of them. But what people don't understand is anytime you're reading about the Christ, you're reading about yourself. You're reading about your own capabilities. But people, so bad, so hard want to put this power outside of themselves. People want something to pray to so bad that they missed the whole bus, man. They missed the whole bus. And what I like about that, you know, Paul pretty much talks about, and you can read deeper into that. It's Galatians 1:15 and 16. Paul is talking about finding his Christ self. He's like, God pulled me from this womb. I'm a grown man. God pulled me from my mother's womb and pretty much instill, you know, and show me this Christ side of myself that I might go out and speak truth to the heathens. And then what he said, immediately I conferred not with flesh nor blood. What does that mean? That means that once I found this truth that I'm talking about, I couldn't identify with any other man on the planet that knew this truth. That's why I say, man, religion is good. If you want to do the religion thing, brother, do your thing. I'm not against it. Trust me. I go to Jumu'ah every once in a while. I go to mass. I got friends. But what Paul said, I conferred not with flesh nor blood. That means it wasn't nobody talking about this stuff. Like truth. That's why I say a man has to have his own religion first. True religion. Now we can talk about the Bible. We can talk about the Quran. We can talk about all this stuff. But true religion is internal, man. The truth is in our DNA. It's in our bones. It's in us. You think the Most High would trust mankind with saying, okay, this is the ultimate word. These are my words. Here you go to preserve it and to give to the people. Man, we done changed the Bible 11 times. To be honest, let's be honest. We don't know what we're reading right now. I can't even think about this. You can't even call your partner up. You can't even call your partner up and tell him something and think that when it gets 3 or 4 people down the road, it's the same story. You can't even do that. You telling me that for 2,000 years and 11 translations that we still have the pure uncut? Come on, man. If you there, you have to get off the gas. Because I know some people come at me and be like, oh, well, the word says this. I was like, okay, I know what the word says, and I can refer to it. But when I look at the word, it's no different than me reading Neville's work. When I look at the Bible, this is me. It's no different than me reading a book by T.D. Jakes, Miles Monroe. These are brothers that were inspired that put this word out. It's my job. It's our job. It's to take this word and run it through that God box, to run it through that Christ self, that thing that Paul found, to run it through that and say, you know what? Let me extract truth from this thing. That's where truth is, man. Truth is internal. Truth is internal. That super chat, bro. Give the gab, LLC. Appreciate the super chat, brother. A man said, Christ needs to come on in. Christ needs to come on in now so I can clean my apartment. I love this message. Keep going, King. Repeat that scripture again. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, appreciate the super chat, brother. Paul dropped the nugget, man. Paul dropped the nugget on the church. And the thing is, they had to miss it. Most of them had to miss it, because if they didn't miss it, we would be talking about the right things right now. Brother said, drop that again. Just real quick, I'll cover it. Paul said, again, this was Paul writing this letter to the church, right? Like, hey, let me explain to you brothers what happened to me. You know, let me write this to the masses. Y'all distribute this thing, you know, amongst yourselves. Email it, chat it, text it, whatever you need to do. Y'all chew on this for a while. He said, I know y'all know that I went through some changes. So let me just fill y'all in what happened. Paul said, it pleased God who separated me from the womb. Again, representing his birth, right? That every man goes through, immaculate conception. To reveal his son in me. In other words, like he showed me that Christ is in me. This higher self is inside of me. And then he says, immediately I conferred not with flesh nor blood. Which means, like, man, you know what? I've been going to church on Sunday. I've been going to mass. I've been going to Jumu'ah. And although it's been good, like this stuff that I've tapped into now, like now that I've plugged in directly to the plug, like, man, it's a whole nother religion out there. And it has no name. You know what I'm saying? Paul dropped some nuggets, bro. Paul dropped some nuggets. He said he conferred with no flesh, no blood. Wasn't nobody speaking this, right? Now, I know what y'all are saying. I know some of you are saying, I know some of you are saying, oh, well, okay, yeah. Paul went through his transition, right? Paul went through his thing. Appreciate that, Brother Jeff. I just made a video on that, brother. Heaven and Hell. I just made a video on it, bro. Just check out my last 1 or 2 vids. Appreciate the super chat. I know y'all are saying, okay, well, Paul went through his thing. Okay, Paul might have been enlightened. Paul might have been, he might have went through a little shift and found some type of, but still, Jesus is the Son of God. Like Jesus is still the one that we're supposed to be bowing and prostrating to, and like Jesus is still Jesus, right? But you have to understand that for those in the know, those that are aware, know that all those that cross that bridge I was talking about, where you go from awareness, you go into that separation, and you go to awakening. All those that have crossed that bridge know something that the masses don't know. And even those that don't know it, they've read it. They all know that anybody that has crossed that bridge are all the sons and the daughters of God. This is biblical. I can't make that up. I can't make it up. Right here. Romans 8:14. For all who are being led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. Same thing Paul went through. John 1:12. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. I can't make it up. I can't do it. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are the children of God. Romans 8:14. But it's all in the Bible. And that's what blew my mind when I was teaching Sunday school. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm seeing this stuff and I'm like, hold up, man. Like, I've been in church for 24 years, man. Vacation Bible school, Wednesday night prayer service, every Sunday, Sunday school. How did I not? Like, how did I miss the bus on this? Because you have to understand, this is crucial. You have to understand how crucial this is. This is the deciding factor on how you're going to view the prophets. It's that crucial. So, this is the thing. If all those that believe are children or sons and the daughters of God, is how it's spoken in the Old Testament. If all those that have walked that path, right? If all those that have snapped out of this trance that most people are in today have found, that separation, have gone into that silence and found that truth, have came out on the other side as awakened beings. If all those people are the sons and daughters of God, then what does that make Jesus to us? It makes Jesus our brother. Quick commercial break.
He gives actual quotes that you probably never even heard before. He said that Henry Ford was aware of it. All of them were aware of it. This is the secret inner teachings that that Napoleon Hill was not necessarily able to give out. This is one of the things that's missing from the secret. You are actually a broadcast tower that's broadcasting energy into the universe. And you wonder why you get the results you get and the people show up in your life, because it's what you're broadcasting.
It took me the longest out, when things weren't going my way, I was like, you know what? There's something I'm not doing. And I was trying to figure out what that thing was. I would go to these books and say, you know what am I not doing? What do these people know that I don't know? What do I see people that are succeeding? Like, what do they know that I don't know? So again, if everybody that's crossed that bridge, if everybody that has completed those 3 stages of the transition, that must mean that Jesus, who walked that same path, that Paul and everybody else that walked that same path are our brothers. Now, don't you see how that changes the dynamic of everything? That changes the dynamic of everything. It's all about perspective. Perspective is where people miss the bus. Because if you look at the prophet, if you look at the messenger as someone that came to this planet, as a being that we should be praying to, brother, you gonna miss the bus. And people miss the bus. And it's in the Bible, man. You got people singing songs to Jesus. You got people praying to Jesus. And Jesus, a million times in the Bible says, like, what are y'all doing? Like it's not about me. It's about him who sent me. Like, I'm here to show you the way. In other words, watch how don't pray to me. Like, watch how I move, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? I have a sister, man. I love my sister. I only have one sister, man. She's a little older than me by a couple of years, but I call her my older sister. Now, my sister, man, she's always been on point. My sister's sharp, bro. She's corporate America 101. And I've always looked at my sister, she's been accomplishing stuff, man, as long as I've been alive. And I've always looked at her. She's my role model. My sister's my role model, right? She's got the bag. She has a successful career. She's got the big house on a number of acres. She got the pool in the backyard. She's got the Benz in the garage. She's got the beautiful family, loving husband, beautiful children. You know what I'm saying? She's winning. And I looked at my sister sometimes over the years, and I'll call and chop it up. I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, how do I do that? Like, how can I get to this point? How do I need to move, right? And she'll say, okay, this is how you move. And then she'll say, well, just watch me do it. Just watch how I move and keep following me like you've been doing. And that's what I do. I watch her and I move just like she moves. What do you think my sister would say if she got online one day and saw me on the gram, or saw me on the book, or saw me on Twitter, and I made a post about my sister, and I said, you know what? Oh God, sister, you are just holier than thou. Please bestow your blessings on me, little sister. Like I'm not worthy of talking to you. Like you're the way. My sister would be like, "What are you doing?" She'd be like, "Are you praying to me?" You know what I'm saying? She would be like, "Are you literally worshiping me?" And she would think I was crazy. And that's what Jesus was saying. If you look in the Bible, he was like, "It's not me, it's him who sent me." Like if you trying to put me on, if you trying to worship me, then brother, you missing the whole flight. He said, you missing the whole flight. Where's it at? This is what he said. This is what he was telling his brothers. And this is an amplified version. I don't even know what version this is, but you can go to the Bible. You can go to the King James. Everybody think the King James is the original. You can go to whatever Bible and translate this. But in Matthew 11:29, it says, walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Brother, you don't know how powerful that is, bro. He didn't say worship me. He didn't say pray to me. He didn't say none of that stuff. He didn't say I'm holier than thou. He said, brother, we right here. Like if you move how I move, we're practically twins. Great are the things that I do, but greater are the things you'll do. Does that sound like somebody we should be praying to? Or does it sound like a walking and talking instruction manual? You know what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of people miss the bus. That's where a lot of people miss the bus, right? by thinking that we're supposed to be praying to a Jesus and thinking he's supposed to be all this, this heavenly floating, levitating. I mean, you can look at it how you want to, but it's about the message. It's about the message. And he says, don't worship me. What he said here? Walk with me. Work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Paul talked about that grace. Back in Galatians, he said, yeah, God gave me this grace. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Where else have you heard that? Outwitting the devil. I talk about it all the time. What is hypnotic rhythm? Hypnotic rhythm is prayer. The messenger right here was saying, learn the unforced rhythms of the way this world works. Move how I move. Do what I do. Follow me. I don't see how people miss the bus. I don't see how people miss the bus. But you have to understand this. I do understand how people miss the bus. I do understand it. You got to think about this. Think about being born in a Christian religion or in a religion, and from 1 day old to 20 years old, you're going to church and you're hearing this sermon being preached in your head. It's like, okay, you know what? This is what happened. This is what happened. You're seeing images to back it up. Sunday school teacher, 5 years old. This is what happened. The older kids, 15 years old. This is what happened. This is what happened. 20 years old, you're an adult now. You're starting to step out. You're going to church on your own. It's like, okay, I know what happened. So when I open up this book, for my own now, I'm a grown man. Now that I'm reading this book, I'm reading it through the lens of what was taught the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm reading it through the eyes of my elders. That's why the Bible says, don't, I'm butchering it. A man, you have to separate yourself from the traditions of your father's father. Like that's what they did. You have to learn this whole thing by yourself, man. You have to learn this whole thing over for yourself. And that's when it comes back down to the 3 stages. Awareness. Something is not right. The silence, separation. You know what? Let me go on my own journey. Let me find my own truth. An awakening. Boom. I plugged in. I found the source. I found that religion that has no name. That's what Paul said. Paul said, this stuff I didn't tap to, like I've never heard it. No flesh nor blood has ever spoke this stuff. And I've been going to church my whole life. That's how I felt at 24 years old. That's how I felt at 24 years old. Now let's get to the meat, right? Let's get to the meat. So why do people think that Jesus is coming back? Right? Like that has to come from somewhere. People will slay you if they got to, talking about Jesus coming back. What you mean Jesus ain't coming? Why do people think that? Where did that come from? Now, it came from a number of places. You can find about a good solid, 5 or 6 verses in the Bible that would lead a person that's been conditioned to think that, right? You can find it. But the one that I like most, the one that I think has the most effect on the masses is John 14, right? And Jesus said, I love this. I love it. He says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you. That's John. That's John. Now, I'll be willing to, to bet. I believe that this one is the primary source for people think that the messenger is coming back. But the thing is, it comes down to not really understanding perspective. It comes down to perspective. It comes down to knowing, truth. It comes down to tapping in. I can see how people miss the bus. Think about this, man. Let's sit on this for a second. Think about growing up. Think about all the Christmas programs you participated in, right? You're getting up there giving your speech. You're pretty much quoting this in a rudimentary form, right? Think about all the Easter speeches we've given. But I've given enough for everybody. For those of y'all that haven't, I've given enough speeches for you too. So fret not. I could easily see how a person could think that after reading this, oh, this means that Jesus is coming back to save us. It says, in my Father's house, which I'm going to assume people are saying heaven. I think I'm safe to say we're talking about heaven, right? In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you. John 14. Now we're going to break this down, right? Because to understand what was being said right there, you have to understand this. To understand that, you have to understand that Jesus, this Messiah energy, is a part of everyone. Again, Jesus was a walking and talking instruction manual. Don't worship me, follow me, do what I do. Because the things that I do, you do greater than this. So watch me. So when I dip, you know how to move. You know what I'm saying? So Jesus is just a representation of our higher selves. And if you don't know that, then when you read this, if you don't know that Jesus is a representation of our higher selves, then when you read this right here, you're getting ready to go a completely different direction. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. In other words, I'm going to the heavens. I'm going to heavens, and I'm about to get the crib. I'm about to get the condo. The street's gonna be gold. And when everything gets lined out, I'm coming back for you. I'm going to descend from the clouds. I'm going to take my, 144,000 or whatever, version of it is yours. And I'm going to leave. Some people are going to get left behind, and we're going to all ascend up into the heavens, singing Kumbaya and holding hands. That's what that verse will take you. And the thing is, I'm not even mad about that because I was on that boat, and I understand how other people can get on that boat. I understand why people are mad at me when I say that boat doesn't exist. But I'm telling you, if you listen to what I'm saying, it'll shed light on your life. I don't care what you think about after this. You can hate me. You can say Soul is speaking blasphemy. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't. But I'm telling you, once you hear this truth, once these words get down to your DNA, gets to your bones, but it's going to resonate with something that you've never tapped into. So if Christ represents our higher selves, then what does this mean? Then what does it mean? I'm going to tell you this, brother. What it's doing, what that verse is talking about, this verse is breaking down the entire manifestation process. In other words, Jesus was saying, man, you look around at the birds, man, and they flying. Like these jokers are flying. Like that seems miraculous, right? Like that's crazy, man. Look at the strength of the gorilla and the polar bear. These brothers are huge and massive and strong. Look at the spider web. They have the ability to cast a web. Like this is, you think that's miraculous, right? And then Jesus was like, well, you never thought about what it is you can do. And then when you understand that Jesus represents the higher self, it doesn't represent a person. It represents your higher self. Then you look at this and you can see the complete manifestation process from start to finish. In my Father's house are many mansions, as above, so below. So it's talking about the fifth dimension. Said if it were not so, I would have told you. In other words, in the fifth dimension, in the heavens, on the other side, like there are unlimited possibilities. Like anything that you can possibly think of, Jesus, your higher self, can go over there and create it. He said, if it wasn't so, I wouldn't sit here and tell you this, brother. He's like, I'm breaking down your superpower to you. Like you look around the world, you see all this great creation. Now let me tell you who you are. He says, in my Father's house are unlimited possibilities. If it wasn't possible, if it wasn't a thing, I wouldn't even sit here and tell you this, brother. He says, I go and prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you. Think about the manifestation process. I can't make this up. What I tell brothers do all the time. I say, brothers, after you write down, write down I said, brother, it's all about taking this idea to the other side because that's where things are created. I mean, you can strong arm on this planet all you want to, man. You can hustle and grind and bind and da-da-da-da. If it's not done on the other side, brother, you spinning your wheels. You're going to get it done, but it's going to take a lot of effort. He was saying, let me tell you who you are. Let me tell you what you're capable of. And he says, I go and prepare a place for you. That's your higher self. That's your higher self going in meditation, experiencing, the impossible, experiencing things that are unseen, experiencing new possibilities. That's what that is. Your higher self going to the other side. He said, I go and prepare a place for you. I will come again and receive you. That's when things come into fruition. You know what I'm saying? He said, if this wasn't what it was, brothers, I wouldn't tell you that. Fully Hitler said, this is blasphemy, man. I'm glad you put that, brother, because somebody got to say it's blasphemy, or it wouldn't be truth. Like I don't want to speak what the masses speak. I just don't, man. So yeah, some people should say it's blasphemy, but hey, you know what? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you how I move. You know what I'm saying? It's the manifestation process. So in a nutshell, I said all of that to say this. The Jesus that you are looking toward to come back, the Jesus that you are looking to, descend from the clouds and angels, singing on his shoulders and all that stuff. It doesn't exist. The Jesus that you are looking for is inside of you. It's inside of you. So that's why I say that Jesus is already here. There's nothing to come back. When you talk about this whole enlightenment and Jesus coming back and all these people, that you're talking about exactly what we're going through right now. You're talking about exactly what we're going through right now. Think about 2019. Think about 2018. Everybody was just like lollygagging, life is good. Everybody's skipping and holding hands. And then toward the end of 2019, everybody was saying, like, bro, I don't know what's going on, but something is shifting, right? You can see all the the tarot readers and those that were spiritually aware. It was like, man, I don't know what's going on, but something is different, right? You saw celebrities like Terrence Howard coming online talking about the stars and the moon align and God is doing. It's like, bro, you were just Lucius 5 minutes ago. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It was something that came over. When Wallace talks about this thinking stuff, brother, toward the end of 2019, everybody felt it. Everybody felt it. 2020 hit. Brother, the world as we knew it was no longer. And all we experienced on a global collective level, it was just the universe sending everybody through the 3 stages of transition. The first stage, awareness. Whoa, something is not right. Let's pause for a second, right? Everybody went to that stage. Now, how you moved after that was on you because everybody didn't move the same. And then it put everybody in that middle stage. Everybody was on the bridge. The silence. The separation. Now, the pandemic put everybody at home. It was like, you know what? You might still watch television. You still might Netflix and chill. You might still listen to, music that's putting you in a low vibration all day long. But you're going to have to sit down somewhere. like I'm going to make sure that you ain't going to be moving. Like the clubs ain't going to be open. The malls and Papa Do's and Ruth Chris, they're not going to be open. So you're going to have to sit down somewhere. That was the universe collectively putting everybody in the silence. It was giving everybody a chance to say, you know what? Let me pause, man. Let me look around, man, and observe how I move, observe my world. And now, in my opinion, this phase is closing. It's closing. And in my mind, it's a 100-year cycle, because if you look at every 100 years, the exact same thing happens. 1919. Look at the history of 1919. Pandemics. Everything happened. I think 1817. 1717. Every 100 years it happens. And it's like this is our generations, our many eras awakening period. Like once this door closes, it's going to be a major gap in the way people move. I said this last night on my in the Power Circle. I said, man, I got on Netflix about a week ago. Now I got on Netflix, man. And I said, you know how they have the trending movies? I don't know if it's 20 or 30 movies. I said, man, like the first 5 to 7 movies were all zombie movies. I was like, what the world is that about? And what it is, man, it's just people letting you know this phase we're getting to go into. You talk about, you read all the books, or you seen all the old movies about being left behind. That's what we're getting ready to go through right now. See, so you think that, a lot of people think that Jesus is coming and going to ascend people and the dead will rise. And now we think that, and that's true. Like this energy is coming, and there are some that are going to come out of this awake, and there's some that are going to still be dead. That stuff is true. It's just misinterpreted. There's going to be a lot of people when this door closes that they're going to be zombies. They're going to be drones, man. They're going to be, that's why it's time for us to start talking about this real stuff. I mean, anybody, I can get online and talk about, oh yeah, hey, women, we got to do this. It's like, but man, it's real now, man. It's real. And when I say it's real, this is what I mean. Like, if you still moving salty, man, like if you still have issues that you need to overcome to get you on that path, and if you haven't seen the path, man, watch the path, because I break this it's a 4-step transition. I break this transition down to nuts and bolts. So if you want to talk about this transition period, you watch the path, brother. I'm knocking it down to pennies, man. Anything that's keeping you from getting on this path, it's like, bro, it's like we've had time to play all these years. We've had time to play. If you still want to be, hooked on certain drugs, or hooked on alcohol, or hooked on pursuing women, or hooked on whatever, if you still have a vice, it's, in the past, it'd be like, okay, man, let me overcome that. Okay, let me spend a lot of time. Let me get myself together. Let me overcome that. But those days are over, is what I'm saying. It's like now, it's fourth quarter, 2-minute warning. It's like anything you got to get over, you have to get over it now. That's why I say, man, who has time to get online and hear about brothers beefing? These are distractions, man. Who has time to get on and worry about what celebrities doing? These are distractions. Last night in the Power Circle, We went over that. We talked about, behold, the pale horse. What the first chapter is what? Silent wars and quiet weapons or something like that. What does it go? Silent weapons for quiet wars. That's in Behold the Pale Horse. When it breaks down how society is going to be overtaken, but it's in black and white. And if you know that exists and you still moving sideways, you still entertaining bull crap, but you're gonna get left behind. And left behind is you're not gonna be looking up and seeing people ascend up into the clouds and all this stuff. That's not what left behind is gonna be. Left behind is gonna be, you're gonna be in a state of like, I hear what they're saying, and I know that. But some part of me, when the time was here, I accepted some other truth. Now all I can do is look at them as they're crazy. Now I can do is float around this world in a pointless energy, like a drone. Brother Jay, appreciate that super chat. It's serious, man. Think about this. Y'all know I love me some Neville, man. Think about, you can clearly see when Jesus went through this transition himself. Like it's all there. It's all about, if you get into the right mindset, I guarantee you this. If you just flip a switch in your head for 24 hours, for 24, 48, 72 hours, if you spend a whole weekend and you say, you know what, I'm going to read this Bible for the first time as if Jesus is my brother, as if Jesus is my role model, as if Jesus is my mentor. I'm going to read it just for this one weekend. I guarantee if you do that, brother, your eyes will be opened. Because it talks about Jesus going through this same transition we're talking about. My sister, appreciate it, Vicky, for becoming a member. At ease. I appreciate that, sister. It breaks it down. Think about the three stages, right? Let's think about awareness. Let's think about the silence, and let's think about the awakening, right? And then let's think about the prophet's life, right? Awareness. When did Jesus go through awareness, right? You can see it if you know about it. Do you remember when Jesus was roaming and talking to the people? And Jesus was just talking. He said, pause. Like, he said, let's hold up for 5 minutes. He said, y'all say that y'all follow Abraham. Like, am I in the right club? Like, y'all said y'all follow Abraham, right? And they're like, yeah, we follow Abraham. Because, I'm speaking the same thing Abraham was speaking, right? He said, y'all say y'all follow Abraham. He said, but you seek to kill me. He said, what are y'all talking about? You follow Abraham? I'm speaking the same message and you seek to kill me? He said, hold up. Something's not right with what's going on. Boom. Awareness. Think about the crucifixion, right? Let's think about when Jesus went into the tomb, right? What is that symbolically representing? Boom. The silence, the separation from everything I know. Let's think about when these 3 days, 3 stages of transition. Let's think about after these 3 days, it was said that Jesus came out and resurrected and went to this awakened state. Why do you think Neville called that book Resurrection? Like nobody questioned that. They're like, Neville, I see you talking about manifestation. Neville, I see you talking about meditation. I see you talking about acting as if. I see you talking about prayer. And like nobody said, Neville, why did you call this book Resurrection of all words? Why did you call it Resurrection? Because it's talking about the stage that every man must go through. When the Bible was talking about Jesus, when it's talking about the birth of Jesus, the Immaculate Conception, when it's talking about the 3 stages of death, when it's talking about the resurrection, it's talking about the stages that every man must go through. That has to make sense to somebody, man. It has to make sense to somebody. And in my mind, I'm like, as an adult, like, how could I possibly still think that Jesus is going to descend from the clouds and raise up the dead and raise up people? Like, that's a true thing. That's actually happening. But most people, most believers are still expecting something to literally come from the sky. This is all symbolic of what every man must go through. At some point, every single man is going to say, hold up. I don't know what truth is, but damn it, this ain't it. Like this, like, I got to put this in the same bucket as the Easter Bunny at some point. Like, I got to put this story right beside Santa Claus because something ain't right, or I'm just misinterpreting it. So let me step back. Let me go into let me get on that bridge. Let me get in my place of separation. Let me get into that silence. And let me tap into that thing that Paul tapped into. When Paul said, man, like, God was pleased when I got to this point, and he showed me myself. And then he said, the stuff that I heard, the stuff that I tapped in, I never heard no man, no flesh, no blood ever speak this stuff. And until you get into that, I'm telling you this, brother, I'm gonna tell you this, until you get into that space where your religion has no name, you haven't tapped in, brother. Christianity can be a beautiful thing. Islam, Hindu, all of them can be beautiful things. But your truest religion, man, it has to be something that you tapped into. It's only yours. It has no name. And I'm telling you that, brother, if you haven't tapped into that, you haven't even lived life. You haven't even experienced what life is like yet. That's the beautiful thing of it. I remember when I was 24 years old, 25 years old, I remember it literally felt like somebody cut the light on. It literally felt like that. Like, I wish I could explain it some other way. And it was like, oh, hell. And I would assume that those that get left behind, they'll never experience that. Like, it's that serious, brothers. It's that serious. And I always talk about like that transition stage. When you talk about, because I'm gonna wrap this up in a sec. When you talk about that transition stage, this is what you need to know. And it goes back to my sister Vicky, who became a member a while ago. Where's it at, Vic? My sister Vicky and her hubby Derek, they're my people, man. They're the 2021 Cosbys. Go follow them on Instagram. But it's something we talked about. Vicky is one part of the host of an IG talk show on the Spectrum. Check it out. I was on her last week, and this is the thing. I think this is what we were talking about. I might be wrong, but when it comes to people finding this enlightenment, when it comes to people saying, you know what, okay, now I'm in this aware state. I know something is wrong. Something's not right, and they go to that silence. They get on that bridge. This is why everybody doesn't make it across that bridge, right? This is why everybody doesn't make it. First off, people can't. That's what she said. It hit me now. Vicky talked about boundaries. We're talking about boundaries. This is why people don't make it on that bridge. One thing is because they can't leave family behind, right? They can't leave friends behind. They can't leave drinking buddies. They can't leave brunch sisters behind, right? So they're on this bridge and they're going to awakening and they're looking back like, oh, like y'all coming? Like, look where I'm going. Are y'all coming? And what you don't understand is that place you're going, they can't even see it. To them, it looks like you're just walking into the darkness. You're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. You're looking at it. And you like, are y'all not coming with me? And they sitting back there talking like, man, look at Jimmy. Jimmy is just walking off in the deep end. They texting about you. Oh man, Jimmy tripping, bro. Let's go fire one up and talk about Jimmy. Sister girl, meet me at brunch. Meet me in our brunch spot so we can talk about Vicky. Vicky tripping. She talking about enlightenment. She talking about, we don't know, man. Let's go have brunch and talk about it. So they can't even see you. So what'll happen is people are on that bridge and they're saying, okay, well, shoot, like I see my awakening, but man, I love my friends and family so much. Like let me just go check on them. Let me go back and see what's going on with them, right? Wrong move. Wrong move. I'm telling you, man, the way the world is working right now, you have to be in a selfish energy. Like the days are, and we were talking about this last night, man. I wish y'all would have tuned in last night, but it was some fire. If y'all aren't part of the power circle, and I'll leave a link. Let me see if I can find a link. If y'all aren't part of the power circle, men, it's a men's group. Brother, you are man, you missing some jewels. You talking about some knowledgeable brothers in there, man. I'm gonna leave that right there. Y'all click on that link. But Neville, last night we were talking about this, man. Neville said this. Neville was talking about, man, when the world is so bad and all this stuff is going crazy. He said, man, instinctively wants to go out and fix the world. You know, let's build community centers and let's do all this stuff. We have to help, man. Let's gather up and put our ideas out there. And we have to change the world. It's bad. The music is bad. Men are doing this. Neville said, man, there's going to come a point in time where none of that stuff will work. It's going to get so bad where the only way a man can fix it is this. Neville said, this is the only way a man can fix it right here. I'm not lying. There's some brothers on the chat last night. Neville said the only way a man can fix this world when it gets that bad is to forget this world and go 100% inside. Because what happens is when a man goes inside and creates his own world, like it's just a matter of him creating his world, and his world will just have to bleed into everybody else if they're about it. But going after drowning victims at some point will be a dangerous thing, man. And that's what some people that are stuck on that bridge are doing. They're like, man, let me go back and save Creflo now. They drowning back there, man. That's a good and honorable thing, brother. When things get like they are right now, it's every man for himself. The only way you can fix your world, fix those around you, is becoming that world. You become that world and let them see it. Follow me. Ain't that what the messenger said? Don't pray to me. Do what I do. Move how I move. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Time is over for trying to save those that don't want to be saved, man. The true believers only have to move how they supposed to move right now. We move how they supposed to move, and they can either look at us and say, you know what, I want to be a part of that, or they can stay in a point of sleepwalking, man. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why people can't come over that bridge. And the last part is this. Why people can't make that transition to awakening. It's because there's a pull that nobody really talks about. There's a pull that nobody really talks about. And we talked about this on Vicky and Abdul's show last week. And the thing is this, like once you start crossing that bridge, this is what happened. You'll start becoming a new person. Like I don't have to say it again. Prayer is not chanting in front of a church. Prayer is not prostrating at Jumu'ah. Prayer is not sitting in the Himalayas in an orange suit with your shoulder out chanting something. That's not what prayer. These are spiritual affirmations. These are beautiful things, but it's not prayer. Prayer is going into that state of awakening, going into that state of this is my true religion that has no name, going into that Christ energy and never coming out of it. Never coming out of it. Pray ye without ceasing. That's what that means. That means it was like Paul going to that state, and you can't go back to the old Paul. You can't be the one that used to go around killing people. Like your prayer, if you really praying, if you really about that life, you have to go into that state and never come out. And the thing is, most people can't do that, and I'll tell you why. Appreciate that super chat, brother. Love to talk, OG. What about graphic depictions of what's to come that are depicted in Revelations? How would you interpret that? Man, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. That's a good question. Appreciate that. That's a good question. But that's a real question. Because if you look, man, and I'm telling you, I don't want to go there because it's gonna send me down a whole nother road. Bro, it's gonna send me down a whole nother road. I'm gonna tell you this. If you think this is a bad conversation, most people don't want to go down that road, bro. Revelation said, all of y'all that killed the prophets, your reward is you shall be drinking blood forever. So I'm not gonna have that conversation, bro. Not today. I don't, that's a real conversation, man. That'll have a lot of people checking themselves. Revelations talks about it talks about the punishment of people that are moving like. That's why I don't understand. Sometimes I'm like, appreciate that super chat, brother. Sometimes I'm like, what book are they reading? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what book are you reading? Because like when Jesus said, hold up. Am I in the right spot? Like somebody must have gave me the wrong direct. I can't be in the right spot because I'm sitting there talking and y'all talking about persecuting me. He said, y'all know Abraham, right? And like, yeah, we know Abraham. But you brothers seek to kill me. Like, what am I missing? And Revelation talks about that. All those people that talked about killing the prophets for their salvation. I'm like, what Bible are y'all reading, man? So I'm not gonna jump on that. I'm gonna jump on that later on, brother, because that's a heavy one. But going back to what I was saying, when people step into that new version of themselves, that Christ self, most people can't stay in it. They can't stay in it because this is what happens. For example, I can get on live right now and I'm sold. I can sit here and be a certain way, a certain vibe, a certain energy, and like, this is what I believe, and yada, yada, yada. This is my truth. But I can leave here and go to a family reunion and see all my cousins, see my grandmama and them, see my auntie and them who've been preaching this stuff to me from day one. And I'll be a little choir boy in there if I'm not right. Oh, yes, mother. Yes. Yes, I believe, That's what most people can't do. Most people can't get in that Christ self and stay in that Christ self. Most people can't pray without ceasing. Anybody that's not the same person 24 hours a day is a poser. One thing, I don't care, man, you can say anything you want about soul, but you can see soul on live. You can catch soul at the cigar bar. You can catch soul at the club, VIP, popping bottles. I'm going to be the same brother. I don't care if I'm in a room with millionaires. I don't care if I'm sitting there having a conversation with a group of homeless men. I'm the same brother. This stuff that I'm talking about now, when I'm around my family, either I don't talk about it because if we talk about it, I'm going to be the same brother. It's to the point where I don't care about offending nobody anymore. I don't care. That fell away a long time ago. I used to be the one straddling the fence, and I'm telling you, that's draining, brothers. So that's why a lot of people can't do it. A lot of people can't cross that fence, can't cross that bridge. But I'm telling you, once you cross that bridge and you turn around and you look on the other side and you see everybody and you see how they're moving, and then you think about what Paul was saying. Paul was like, man, this stuff I tapped into, like, I ain't never heard nobody speak this. Like, no flesh nor blood has ever said this is what I found over here. That's what everybody is experiencing. So when you see someone vibrating high, when you see someone talking about something that seems foreign, you have to understand what they're experiencing, man. Like the stuff I'm saying, I respect you brothers that are saying, so that's blasphemy. Brother, you have no idea how much I respect you saying that, for calling that out. You have no idea how much respect I have for you brothers that are saying, so you speaking straight up bull. This is blasphemy. I respect that because that says a lot about you to even say that. That means that you're on the edge. That means that you're at least at a point where you're looking. But I'm gonna tell you this: the brothers and the sisters that are on this side of the bridge with me, they understand. They fully understand what I'm saying. When I'm saying Christ is in me, when I'm saying move in your heart, they fully understand. They don't. I'm not offending them. I'm not offending them, man. Look at the columns. Look in the comments. You see people. You see people commenting. Look at Conscious Queen. Boom. Same here. Look at D Champ. I have said this for years. It's there. It's there. I'm telling you, I'm not the lone sheep on it. There are people that are experiencing, and I'm telling you this, brothers, sisters. I'm telling you this. This is the only reason I'm telling you this. It's not about a heaven or hell. It's not about none of that stuff, damnation and brick and firestone or whatever. It ain't about none of that. It's simply about tapping in. It's simply about living. Like I'm telling you, if you haven't crossed that bridge, you're only living a partial life. There's no other way to put that. Crystal said there's a spiritual attack happening. Facts. Fact. It's to the point now where everything that's taking place, it has to be magnified. And I mean everything in your personal life. Like if your money is funny, you have to look at the meaning that everything is magnified. If your kids are acting bad in school, you have to say, what's causing that? If your health is bad, observe that. And don't judge it. Don't put it in a column. Don't put it in a column of good or bad. Simply call it what it is and understanding the meaning of it. I just read in I don't know where it is. The Master Key, when it was saying all disease and lack come from a mental thing, right? Once you correct that mental thing, then all disease and lack have to fall away. Sister said we're in a spiritual attack, man. She's speaking facts. Mr. Base 093 said, let's talk about it. I'm telling you, this is just not a soul thing. I'm not sitting there and saying, you know what, let me just pull something out of my ass and get online. No, brother. This is my life. If you want to know what soul is about, this is my life. Like as far as diving into truth and finding truth and understanding why people believe this and why we do that and what's actually happening, that's my life. I don't give a damn about clubs and partying and football and soccer and LeBron making a dunk. I don't care about those things, brothers. This is my life. You know what I'm saying? This is who I am. This is my prayer. This is my purpose. So I'm not going to get on here and just speak some bull to you, man. Trust me, I've done my 10,000 hours plus on this. I didn't just get on some YouTube channel and hear some brother speak it. Brother, I've absorbed it. I've lived it. I've tried it. I've messed up at it. I've done it again. I've worked out the tweaks so I could talk about it. And now I'm trying to share it with my brothers because I don't want them brothers to feel like I felt when I was sitting in Tyler, Texas with a gun in my head. I don't want nobody to feel that. And the only reason I felt like that, man, because I had fallen back. I had unplugged, man. I had to plug back into that source, man. That's why I'm talking about this. You know what I'm saying? This is not some hot topic to get likes. You know what I'm saying? This is not some red pill, how to get women, get date on one night type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. It's just like game time is over, bro. And it's like I said on the gram earlier, man, like that conversation we have, like this normal conversation that we have, this how let's just talk about this today. And it's like, man, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for it. I don't know. Barry said the scripture. Where's it? I hit the wrong one. Brother Barry Talk said the scripture is the scripture, brother. Facts. Okay, let's talk about that. The scripture is the scripture, and I don't know what angle you were coming at, brother. And I'm not sitting there attacking. I don't know if you coming at me saying that I'm reading it wrong, or if you're saying that. But this is the thing about the scripture. The scripture is the scripture. Are we to believe that everything that we read in the Bible and several other books are from some source of, like, what are we saying that is? I'm curious. Are we saying that the Bible is God's words? Let's be honest with ourselves. Because I ain't gonna lie, for 24 years of my life, I was saying, you know what? This is my Bible, man. My daddy bought me this Bible in 1985. It's that old. And the only thing I hate is that the cover is missing. It fell off and he had signed it. He put a little note on there. So I don't know where it went. But are we saying that this is the literal word of God? Like God sent this down from? It's not that. If that was the case, then why has it been translated 50 million times? So what you're saying is, and I'm not saying you, brother. Appreciate that post, that comment, brother Bear. Appreciate that. But are we really believing that's the word of God? Because if it was, let's say, for example, a voice came from heaven and spit words on a book. Who in their right mind would have the balls? Think about what we're saying. We're saying God itself, because God is neither male or female. We're saying that God itself put these words in this book for us to live by and to govern us and to do all this, right? Boom. Let's say that's what it is. Here we go. The Holy Bible. The whole thing, right? Who in their right mind would have the balls to say, you know what? I think this is what he meant. I think when the Bible said in the beginning, God should do, I think what it meant was this. So let me change that. You know what I'm saying? God, like, I got you, I'm going to edit this thing for you. And that's happened 50,000 times. And now somebody will get a Bible today. Who knows what version it is? A lot of people think King James is still the original version that fell from the heavens, because that's what we've been taught. You can't tell us King James wasn't pretty much God right-hand man. You can't tell us that. It's like God, Jesus, and then King James right after that. Well, my people trip me out, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's damn near stand up sometimes. But are you telling me after 50,000 translations that we still say, oh, this is still the Bible? Come on, man. We have to look at it as call it what it is. A group of inspired men wrote this, and it's very helpful. I get tons of data from this. But it's no different than me reading Neville Goddard. It's no different than me reading T.D. Jakes. No different than me reading Miles Monroe and any other great author. It's no different than me reading A Toast to Men by S.D. Booker, which is a good book. It's all information that's coming from inspired men to help us. But we have to run it all through the God box. We all have to run it through that Christ self. Like, we can read the Bible right now and say, you know what? Okay, let me read it. Let me read some T.D. Jakes. Let me read some this. Let me take this and filter it through my Christ self, and let me extract out of it what I need. It's like, okay, I see some truth in that. I see some things that might just be opinion, but truth is inside of me. That's what people don't understand. That's the thing, man. People are looking externally for the answers. Nothing's external. The external is an illusion. The external, what you're looking at is partially yours and partially another man's illusion. So anytime you look on the outside for any kind of answers, you roll the dice. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. And when I turned 24, bro, and I started reading that Bible for the first time, I was like, my brother said, dude is an antichrist. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm the antichrist. But anyway, you have to run it through that God box, man. Every single thing. I don't care if you go to the best of churches and that pastor is speaking knowledge. You have to run it through the God box. I don't care if it's your mother, your father, my grandmother, man. My grandmother was an angel to me. When she was living, I would go to her house on Saturday. She's cooking me breakfast and she's sitting me down and she's giving me the Bible. She's giving me the word. But you couldn't tell me that my grandmother wasn't side by side with Mother Teresa. You know what I'm saying? Gave me the game. But even now, going back, looking at some of the stuff that my grandmother taught me, I still got to run it through the God box, man. I have to run it. I have to run it through my fear. I mean, through my understanding. Brother said, I'm gonna speak on this for a minute. I want to speak on this for a minute because this is a good response, man. And I Street Jesus Ministry, brother, I appreciate your honesty, man. I appreciate your go-nass to get on here and say, you know what, this dude is a poser. This dude is an anti-Christ, which means I'm against Christ, right? I'm assuming that's what that means. But let me ask you this, brother Street Jesus Ministry. Let me ask you this question. Let's say Jesus was alive right now, this very second, walking in the streets of downtown Dallas, speaking his word, right? I'm assuming since you're saying I'm anti-Christ, I'm assuming that means you're on the other side of the fence of what I'm saying. So let's say Jesus was walking right now, and I'm not going to go deep into this. I'm assuming you're a Christian. I'm assuming, let me ask you this. If Jesus was alive right now, and you and I were both downtown Dallas watching him work, he's over there speaking to the multitude of people. Me and you, we shoulder to shoulder over there just observing brother Jesus, right? Question. Would you want Jesus to die? In other words, think about what I'm asking you. Think about what I'm asking you. If you are one that says your salvation, you going to heaven and hell, is strictly based on the death of Jesus. Now we're sitting there looking at Jesus, right? Would you want him to die? Of course you would. Because you're one that says you can't go to heaven except it be through his crucifixion. But think about this. I want you to really think about what people have been teaching for 2,000 freaking years, right? Think about the time Jesus walked the earth, if it happened. Let's say it did. The people that roamed with him, the brothers that rode shoulder to shoulder with him, the brother that hit out the hours with him, that played ball with him at the park, those brothers didn't want him dead. Why? Because they believed in what he said. It was the non-believers that wanted him dead. So my question is, how in the hell can a person say they are a believer and say that he died for their sins? Because those that believe didn't want him dead. So what you're saying, what most people are saying is that, what most people are saying is this. I want y'all to think about this. Is that if it wasn't for the non-believers, I can't go to heaven. Do we think about how crazy this sounds, man? When you sit here and talk about, and you call Soul the Antichrist, you're the one that wanted him dead. You know what I'm saying? I'm the Antichrist, but you want to drink his blood and eat his flesh. And I'm done with it, bro. I'm out. I just hope y'all wake up, man, and understand truth. Times are changing. The world is doing a funny thing. You know, we talked about 2018, man. We talked about this transition. We talked about this transition for a long time. Then we felt it. We saw it. 2020 life was crazy. This is the silence, man. This is the silence we're in. But the thing is, nobody knows when this transition will end, because it's like it's over the collective. Nobody knows when this is over, man. So I'm saying, brothers, if you have issues, addictions, you know, the hub, all this stuff, if you have these issues, man, now at the time you have to fix it, bro. Women, if you steal for these streets, it's time to tap in, man. In a nutshell, all I'm trying to say is that the Jesus that you're expecting to ascend down from the clouds, ascend from the heavens with doves at his feet, with angels on his shoulder, singing kumbaya and all these spiritual gospels or whatever, right? He's not coming. And the reason he's not coming is because this Jesus is already here. If you want that whole thing to take place, it's just a matter of you calling upon that Jesus. It's just a matter of you calling upon your higher self. That's the resurrection. There's no mass, Jesus comes down. This is every man's individual journey. When you're reading the Bible and it talks about A to Z, it's not talking about everybody. It's talking about your individual journey. You have to understand that, man. You have to understand that. It's your boy Soul Immortal. And I'm out.